Hello, everyone. It's Shirley, and you're watching God, Sex, and Love. Tonight, I'm chatting with Mr. Nicky Billou. I think that we are in for a treat. This guy is a serial entrepreneur and a man that says he can make us $1 million or more. So, you guys are ready to learn more about that? Then stay tuned. Welcome back to God, Sex, and Love. I am here with Mr. Nicky Billou. Hi, how are you, sir?
I'm doing spectacular. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yes. Welcome. Welcome to God, Sex, and Love. Appreciate you coming in this evening.
Pleasure to be here.
So, first tell us where you're from. Where are you located?
I'm in Toronto, Canada. I'm originally from Iran. My family are ethnic Christians, and when the Islamic Revolution happened back in 1979, I was a wee lad. My mom and dad were far-sighted enough to say, hey, look, as ethnic Christians, this isn't going to be a good place for us to raise our family. So they brought us to the West, and here we are.
Wow. I mean, yeah, good thing they had the foresight and whatnot. I mean, I hear things are tough over there, yeah?
They sure are.
But
we're blessed and grateful to be here every single day. God is good.
Yes. I was going to say, I still hear some things about Canada too. So I don't know. I mean, happy things, but at the same time, I hear that
there's no question what you're saying is true. We've had last 2 years have been tough. And unfortunately, the federal government here in Canada decided to crack down real hard on people's liberties. And that's had an impact on the average man and woman in Canada. And they, a bunch of people went, protested peacefully in the capital city, and they demonized them. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think I might have followed some of that. Are you familiar with David Lynn? Because he's somebody I've been following.
I got to be honest, I don't know David Lynn.
No? Okay. Yeah, he's a minister online. I think the ministries is called Christ Forgiveness and whatnot. So they're one of the ministries I follow online. And yeah, like that's where I'm seeing some of the info about Canada. So, hey, there's persecution here as well, even here in, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia myself, in the U.S.
Oh, I have family there. I have family in Marietta.
What? Uh-oh. Look, let me find out. We're neighbors almost, right?
Almost, yeah. There used to be a gym in Marietta that whenever I'd visit, I'd go to. It's called Coffee's Gym. And it was there for 40 years, and then old man Coffee got old. He retired. He closed it down. But it was a great gym. It's a great gym. A lot of power lifters from the state of Georgia were trained there.
Wow. Okay. What, you're into powerlifting?
No, I wasn't a power lifter. I'm just a regular workout guy. But it was fun to go there and be around all that strong energy. It just pushed me to go harder. So I was grateful.
Yeah, cool. Look, finding out new things already. Well, I'm excited to learn more about you and your endeavors and everything like that. So feel free, go ahead and share whatever you would like in regards to,
Sure. So, listen, as I said, I came to the West from Iran, and my hero was my father. My father was an entrepreneur. He's a man with the foresight to bring the family to the West, and he's also the man who was an entrepreneur. And my dad was my hero growing up. He always uplifted people. And everyone who knew my dad was brought up because they knew my dad. And he had this thing that he would tell us. His boast was, son, we fed 51 families this week, ours and his 50 employees. And he was proud, man. He brought the world up. And so I grew up thinking entrepreneurs are the greatest heroes in the world. And you think about it, it's true, because they've got the courage to follow a dream and a vision. They usually have a lot of naysayers, even in their own family. And as a result of that, it takes a lot of guts to get past all that and create something. And small business entrepreneurs create 95% of the jobs in the United States and Canada, everywhere, and they're the ones who create all innovation. They drive the human race forward. And to me, serving that group of people is an honor. And that's what I do. I have a variety of things, all of which are about serving entrepreneurs. I've written best-selling books. I've written several books. You know, my bestseller, Finish Line Thinking, How to Think and Win Like a Champion, is all how to have the mindset of a gold medal finisher in your life and in your business. The Thought Leader's Journey is for someone who works in a company and wants to take the leap to entrepreneurship. The Power of Connecting is a book teaching you as an entrepreneur how to use your network and your connections to profitably grow your business. And these are the kinds of books that I write. I wrote a little children's book called Kathy Capitalist and Johnny Jobmaker, and it's a book teaching little kids how to become good capitalists. And I think it's important to do all that. I've got my own podcast on business. I have a podcast for men as well. And I run programs. We provide one-on-one coaching and advising for someone who's stuck in their business and wants to earn more money. We sit down and we have a conversation with them about what has them stuck, and we give them a blueprint. Some of them we end up working with, some of them we don't, but we love doing that. We have peer groups and masterminds to teach you about personal branding, how to brand yourself so you can add $100,000, $250,000, $1 million a year to your income. So if you don't have a personal brand, you're going to have a very limited business life. You're not going to be able to get out there and get all the clients that you need. So we say you got to be a branded thought leader, go-to authority in your space. Those are the kinds of things that we do for people. And I love helping people. I love having a conversation with somebody who's in a space that they may be doing okay, but they want to get to a whole new place. And I love making that happen. You know, they call me the modern Napoleon Hill because I tend to talk to a lot of smart people on my podcasts and my books. But I call myself the millionaire maker because I make people millionaires, and that's a lot of fun doing that.
Hey, look, you the man to talk to then, sounds like. I think the majority of the people that watch GSL, they know that, like, I love my fellow entrepreneurs. Like, I guess I have that entrepreneurial spirit as well, from a young age like you. I mean, I watched my mom have a daycare growing up. I watched my family, have a non-emergency transportation business, things like that. So I think it was just one of those things that kind of naturally occurred. Like once I, became older and whatnot, I started to, eventually they did kind of help me to launch my first business. And then from there, just so many other ideas and endeavors I've, dabbled in as well and whatnot. So, I mean, that's a really cool way to live. I know it's probably not for everybody and everything, but as much as I can kind of push that as well, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, work for yourself. Like, I mean, it's because it's the most freeing thing. That I say that plus trusting in God, doing that combination of that right now is just been, I feel the most free I've ever felt in life, like since 2020. And I know that's crazy, but I think it just kind of shook up things just enough for me to be in a place where I had to just be like, okay, well, not say winging it, but just kind of being like, I'm just going to go with whatever God is doing. That, that's what's going on with me in my life. And I've just seen so much fruit from that, you know what I mean? So now all the time I'm saying it on my podcast and on the daily inspiration aspect, I'm like, hey, just keep, live by faith, trust in God, let him lead you and guide you. Because at the end of the day, I've just seen what it's done for me, even to lead to these conversations that I'm having with people like you and whatnot. So
we're doing actually a Kingdom Business Summit in the city of Ottawa, Canada, at the end of November. It's going to be all about business and men and women of Christian faith getting together. We're going to be talking about how to live your life and do your business according to God's will. And it's also going to have some incredible stuff, practical things about how to grow your business, sales, personal branding, marketing, all that good stuff. So that's something, if you yourself are interested in that, you should come to Ottawa and check that out. I know it's a cold time to be in Canada, but hey, it's all good. And definitely if your listeners are business people and they're Christians, that's a good place for them to be.
Yes, that sounds amazing. I would love to do something like that. I mean, I don't know when I got to get a passport right now. I don't have a passport yet. That's one thing.
That's easy. That's easy. Just go into a passport office, take a picture. They'll take care of it for you. It'll be ready in 2 weeks. That's not hard.
I guess for some reason, maybe it just made it seem as if it was like this long process or something. So maybe
it's not.
It's in my head.
It's not. It's not. Trust me. Passports aren't hard right now. Getting on an airplane these days, it's a little more challenging than it used to be, but I figure within the next 5-6 months, that'll become easier too.
Yeah, well, I agree. I agree. I think I see it kind of shifting in that way too. At least I'm hoping and praying, because I have some traveling I want to do, and
We all
everything
do.
like that. So definitely want to get back to a place where we can kind of be more free in that area. But well, I'm excited. So listen, you're the guy to talk to. We've established that, because that's one thing about. I don't know if it's just about being a creative person, but obviously, I'm sure you've heard this whole concept of starving artists and things like that. And so, and a lot of us are out here trying to figure out ways to. Well, I say, like for example, as a Christian, yeah, I feel like if I need to be using my gifts yes, to glorify God, but then also like whatever my spiritual gifts are should be my work. I know I had a person that I talked to in like the first season of GSL, right? And she had a book all about that. And that has kind of stuck with me as well, where I feel like that's kind of what's going on in my life now. But then also, sometimes you just feel like, man, I don't have enough or whatever, or whatever the case is. And so it's like how to get to that next level. Um, Obviously you've mastered it, right? So wait. I guess I'm excited to hear like more about your journey and like getting the, getting to the details and how you're helping people and all of that. Yeah.
Sure. So I worked in corporate when I got out of university. I worked in the telecom business, and when I first got into telecom business, I was I was like one of these guys who was like a manager of relationships with international companies. It was nothing that lit me up. I wasn't into it. I stayed in that telco space for 4.5 years. And then I jumped to another telco company and I was in a marketing and sales role. That was far more exciting. It was really cool. There was a lot of energy in that company and there was a lot of excitement about doing something new and different. And I loved coming up with ideas to market and sell. And I had a lady boss, and she was very smart and she really helped me become better at what I did. So that was terrific. But after about a year of that, I went to the Middle East. I started work with my dad and a few of his associates. The timing was wrong because the price of oil tanked, unlike now. And so, there was no buyers for a while. So I had to come back to Canada. I got back into telecom for a while and then got into internet and again in sales. And then I got into e-commerce and I was in sales for that. And then I got into IT security. That was my biggest job. I got promoted to director of sales. And that was all great. That was around 2001. In August 2001 was the dot-com crash. Our company went from high flyer to bankrupt overnight. They owed me about $500,000 in commissions. They never ended up paying me that money. And I was lost. I was trying to figure out which way was up. So I went back to one of the companies I'd worked at before, and I went on a consultative basis for a little while. And then I was done with that and I was really lost. What am I going to do? So I was trying to figure it out. And I was really into fitness then. And a friend of mine, I'd recently gotten married at that time, friend of ours, of me and her, said, well, what are you doing? I go, I don't know. She says, well, what do you like to do? I go, I like fitness. She goes, well, maybe you should do fitness. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe I should. But I was just feeling beat up. And this lady's her name was Kim Lawton. She said, look, you're a fit person. This will work for you. Don't give up hope. And the next day, a woman called me. Her name was Iffy Kazim. And Iffy said to me, so Nicky, I hear you're a personal trainer. How much do you charge and when can we start? And you got to get, I was not a personal trainer at that point. And I just made up a number. It was like $35 an hour, which at the time was a lot of money to me. And we can start tomorrow. And so we did. And that was my journey. And I became self-employed as a personal trainer. Then I got introduced to an Olympic gold medalist here in Canada, a man named Mark McCoy. And Mark McCoy introduced me to a man who's forever linked with Atlanta because he won the 100-meter Olympic gold medal at the Atlanta Games in '96. His name is Donovan Bailey. And so Mark and Donovan and I started a company with another fellow. We worked together for a while. It was great. I got more into personal training. I was building a company. And then unfortunately that all blew up, for a variety of reasons, people's egos, my ego, their egos, all that stuff. And, it was a really, really interesting thing, but it taught me that I still want to do this. I love being in charge. I love doing my own thing. I love coming up with ideas. So I kept training people. And, unfortunately, my marriage ended, and I kept training for a while, but my heart wasn't in it the same way. And I felt I needed to do more. One day I was at a business conference and a man was speaking. His name was Bill Bishop. And Bill did a talk, and his talk resonated. It touched my heart and soul. And I figured I need to do more. I need to get out there and serve people. I'm smart. I could teach business people how to figure things out. So I walked up to Bill and I said, Bill, I was very hesitant. Remember, I was sleeping on my mother's couch here because I'd been recently separated, right? And I was a grown ass man with two sons. I was doing that. It wasn't my proudest moment, to tell you the truth. And Bill took one look at me and he said, okay. He said, I charge $5,000 for 5 hours of coaching and there's no refunds. And I get paid in advance. And you got to get, I had made $5,000 in the previous 12 months since I got separated. That's how bad things were for me. So that was all the money in the world to me. I was sleeping on my mother's couch, right? And I told him, I don't have that kind of money. And he said, I know you don't. He said, I'm going to give you some advice, kid. He was maybe 10 years older than me, but he called me kid. I said, all right, give it to me. He said, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much resources you have. What matters is how resourceful you are and how bad do you want change. And he said, well, if you want change really badly, you're going to come up with the money, you're going to pay me. And if you don't, you won't. And then he dismissed me. It was that quick. And I said, okay, I'll come back. So I was a trainer then, and I wasn't getting clients. And I had a few people I'd been talking to who hadn't made up their mind. So I just decided, okay, screw this. I'm going to call these guys up and I'm going to say, look, I need money. I need money now. So you're in luck. You're going to get the deal of a lifetime, half price, but you got to agree before the end of this call, and you got to pay me right after this call. Otherwise, the deal's done. Deal's off. So two guys gave me $1,000 each. So I walked up to Bill and I said, hey, Bill, I got some money. He said, great. I said, here's $2,000. He said, $2,000. I said, no, I got paid in advance, full in advance. And I looked at him and I said, Bill, how many people have you given this little speech you gave to me to? He said, over the years, probably 30 or 40. And I said, okay. Besides me, who else came back with any money? He said, oh, you're the first. I said, oh, really? So take my money. I'll sign a contract. I'll pay you the rest within 30 days. And so he agreed reluctantly. But within 4 months, I made 6 figures as a result of this man's coaching. And I never looked back. And this is a thing that Tony Robbins teaches, is he teaches it doesn't matter how much resources you have. It matters how resourceful you are. So that taught me a lesson. And then I kept training people too, but I got into coaching people and into advising them and providing them with blueprints on how to get past their limits. Because as a fitness trainer, that was something I was pretty good at. I mean, well into my 40s, I was like shredded and ripped and all that stuff. And I'll get back to that, man. I've become old and fat, but the deal is that what I brought to the table as someone who'd been highly educated, had gotten a master's degree from Georgetown University, and had been an entrepreneur and had worked in corporate and was very well read, was that I knew how to push people out of their comfort zone. I cared about people and I had good strategies. So I continued to develop programs and materials. And one of my last fitness clients and I had a conversation, and I said to him, you're really smart. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to be in a mastermind with you. And he said to me, that's a great idea. And we should call it E-Circle for Entrepreneur Circle. And we should charge people. And the next day he had a website up and he said, okay, go get us a bunch of people in a room and let's pitch them. So anyways, so I did that. I was coaching people still, and we got 12 people and we started a mastermind, and it went well. We had some business people in the room, and we made some good money. And then we realized that we needed to stand out because it was just a generic mastermind. So he knew some folks out in Australia We did something called thought leadership, personal branding. And we brought that to Canada and started to put our own special sauce into that. And that took off. And our income went up almost tenfold overnight. Then after 2 years, he didn't want to do this with me anymore. He was doing something else. And, we were clashing because he was doing that and this. And I thought it wasn't right that he didn't put as much attention to this. And he thought it wasn't right that I thought that. And anyways, we split up. And then I doubled the business again. And it was pretty amazing, because what we've done over that period of time is we've helped 11 people add anywhere from $1 million to 38 million to their income. And we helped another 60 plus add an extra 100,000 to $500,000 to their income. And we are driven by making a difference for people. We want people to know that we care, because Maya Angelou said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And she's right. And I care about people. I'm a heart-driven business leader. I call myself a heart leader. That's a phrase I coined. And I think heart leadership is the key to success in today's world. And everybody I've ever worked with, I've put my heart on my sleeve to help them. Some of those relationships were for a reason, some were for a season, some may be for a lifetime, but that's what it's been all about. That's who I am. That's what I do. And I love doing it. And the programs we run, we want to see people win. We want to see people live life as the best version of themselves. We want to see people make the money they deserve to make. Too many people are struggling right now. Too many people right now are on a plateau, not making as much money as they should. I mean, even 6 figures these days for most people isn't enough. You need to be at $250,000 to be comfortable in a place like Atlanta these days, right? And you should do even better than that. You should do $500,000. You should do $1 million. You should have people around you who are part of a community that you're a part of. And I'm a big believer in that. That's one of the things we offer is a community, a peer group. Hashtag don't do 2022 alone. It's terrible to do it alone. It's beautiful to do it in a community, because when you're feeling weak, they'll lift you up. When they're feeling weak, you'll lift them up. And that's the beauty of it. We need people. Life is a people game. Business is a people game. You can't, these last 2 years when people have been locked down, that's terrible. Been isolated, that's terrible. They need to be together. We just had a live event in Toronto, because we've been locked down more than you folks have been in Georgia. I know in Georgia, your governor lets you stay open, so good for him. But it was so good to be around people, and people they loved it. We need more of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to that fellowship that, I know the Bible says that. And look, there's so many things you just shared right now that's just very interesting. First, let's just go ahead and elephant in the room. I don't know if you want to tell us your age, but I mean, you said when you was 40. I'm like, wait a minute, you ain't nothing but what, like 45?
I'm 54. I'm 54.
I was 50. Wow. Well, I guess the fitness and whatnot has been doing great for you throughout your life.
You're very kind.
You're
very kind.
Yeah, man. And it sounds like you just met a lot of great people along the way in your life. It seems like you met a lot of great connections and whatnot. Because I know as you was talking, so to be honest, right, some of those figures, like I don't even think people even imagine that they could, make that. You know what I'm saying, or have that amount of money. Even though we see it all the time, we see it on TV, we see people talking about it, whatnot, but I don't know if it's like something that people feel like is really attainable. Like
it's attainable if you're in the right environments. It's attainable if you have the right mentors and you're following the right strategy. If you're in your own head, yeah, it's not attainable because you don't know how to do it. But if you've got a mentor who's got a track record of doing that, someone like me, then yeah, it's attainable. If you're in a peer group of other people, many of whom are doing that, then yeah, you have a real life series of examples of doing that. I mean, we have a lady who's in our community. She's a wellness doctor. She came to us and, she was doing okay. She was doing like 6 figures a year, but she wanted to do more. And now she's doing 6 times that in less than 3 years. And the reason is because she wanted it. She took the coaching and the mentoring, and she was in the right environment with other people who were getting great results. And that just gave her the energy to say, if they can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it will. You can probably get this a lot. So what do you say to people that, maybe think that what you're talking about is, oh, he's talking about some type of get rich quick, or, you know what I mean?
No.
Or things like that. Like,
No, we talk get rich slow. This ain't quick. This ain't quick. Listen, wherever you are in business right now, I'm just going to make up a number. Let's say you're making $70,000 a year and you want to make $500,000, and you just don't see how that's possible. I'm here to tell you, with the right methodology of, becoming a branded thought leader. So strong personal brand where you're professionally famous, and a solution that solves a very particular acute problem for people, either around money, around relationships, or around health. You can totally go to $500,000. And we tell people that wherever you are, we can take you from there to $500,000 to $1 million, or even 2 million within 3 years. That's not quick. That's not quick. If you're making $5,000 a month, I could probably take you to $10,000 a month within 3 to 6 months. That's pretty quick, but it's not overnight.
Right. So
anybody who tells you that get rich quick stuff, they're full of caca. Don't talk to them. Don't talk to them. They see, people know there's people who I call a charlatan marketer. Charlatan marketer is a liar. Basically, they're going to hit all the right emotional buttons in you to get you to buy, but they don't deliver. They don't deliver. The only person getting rich quick is them.
Right. Yeah. And I think people are like scared. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are scared when it comes to like these different concepts or different things that they hear about. I mean, I've heard from, obviously, I'm sure you heard about pyramid schemes and all these different things where, I could see some pluses to, for example, direct sale businesses. Like, I'm like, okay, well, instead of me, for example, going to figure out all the details about getting a winery and whatnot, I can buy into this business that I can just promote their wine basically and get a cut or whatever. Like, I don't see anything pretty much wrong with that, but I know there's some people that do, because then they're like, oh, well, they just want you to build a team, or they just want you to X, Y, and Z. And, and so I think people hear so many things like that, right? That when maybe when you're saying, they
can
might
choose whatever business you want. I mean, I'm not in direct sales. I've done direct sales. There's nothing wrong with the direct sales model. It's not for me, but I know people that have been very successful at it, good friends of mine. My own feeling is, like, I'm in the business of, advising, coaching, consulting, speaking, doing workshops. So I like to help. I'll help other people too, but that's a group I'm really focused on. Someone who offers their know-how to others. And to me, we can make you money with that. So imagine that you're offering some coaching to clients, and I'm just making this up, okay? But let's just say that what you want to do is you want to help women who are professional, successful, over the age of 35, and they're not in a relationship with men and they want to be. And you, your message to them is, if you're a successful woman over the age of 35 and you're not in a relationship with a man, I will get you in a relationship with a good man if you follow my coaching. Okay. And again, I'm making this up, right? You and I are just having this conversation here, but that's an acute problem. There's tons of women over 35, good women, who are screwing up when it comes to finding a good relationship. And they don't know why they're screwing up, but they're screwing up. They know they're screwing up. Now, you can't come out and tell them you're screwing up, because, they're going to get their backs up and they're going to get upset and they're not going to buy from you. But if you have a conversation with them, it's not your fault that you don't have the man of your dreams, and it's not the man's fault either. But there's some things you're probably doing that are keeping them away from you. You could come up with a few reports. You could, on the podcast, have a conversation with somebody and bring these out and then send clips of them to these women. And then just say, hey, if you're interested, I'm doing a free webinar. I'll do a free one-on-one consultation or whatever it is to get you going. Once you start having a few of these conversations, let's say you line up a dozen women who fit the bill, and you have these, you have a webinar, you have a one-on-one consult with them, and every single one of them goes, okay, I want to be in a relationship with the man of my dreams over the next 12 months. And you're going to go, okay, I've got a program, and provided you take my coaching, you'll have a 85% chance of being in a relationship with a good man within the next 12 months. And my program is a one-on-one coaching program. It's 16 weeks long. It's intensive. We speak on a weekly basis. We're in communication, and it's $10,000. Now, some of those women are going to go, whoa, that's a lot of money. And they're not going to do it. But there's going to be a whole bunch of go, $10,000 is not a lot of money for getting me the man of my dreams. I'm in. And if it's a professional woman, a lawyer, an accountant, a doctor, she's got that money. She can put it on a credit card. You follow what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. And imagine you got 20 women to sign up in year one. That's $200,000. That's in addition to whatever you're already doing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
hey, that sounds great to me.
It sounds great. And now this is a conversation, and you're on the wrong side of a whole lot of hard work. So you got to understand that, right? This ain't going to happen like that. Right. But let's say you and I decided to work together, and you said, okay, I want to do this. And you started to do the work to really hone this for yourself. The first thing I'd have you do is I wouldn't have you go on social media. Social media validates your efforts. Social media does not take the place of prospecting and in-person or over the phone conversations. Does not take their place. I'm sorry. Social media will never get you paid by itself. Social media will help you. It'll raise your profile, but you got to get on the phone. You got to meet with people. You got to get on Zoom. You got to find out what the problems are. You got to make an offer, and you got to ask for the business. You must ask for the business. If you're not asking for the business, you will not get paid. There is no two ways about it. These things you see on the internet about, oh, I did this, and they got a borrowed Lamborghini. Oh yeah, come and sign up to my course. You'll say everything online. That feeds into people's fear, because nobody wants to sit down and have an authentic wheel-to-wheel conversation with people because they're scared. But that's what they need to do. And I tell them that. Mm-hmm. And if they're not willing to do that, then I won't work with them. See, I say to clients this, right? And this is going to come across probably as arrogant, but it's not meant to be. I don't need your business. I make lots of money. Whether I get your business or not, you're, $20,000 or whatever I'm going to charge you for the work we do, it's not going to change my life much. But whether you work with me or not, it's going to be the difference between you having a tragic life of struggle or a magic life where you've had that spark, that guide who's going to take you from where you are to the promised land. Like I said, it's going to sound a little arrogant. It's not meant to be, but it happens to be the truth.
Yeah. Hey, well, sounds familiar. Sounds like the gentleman you mentioned earlier, right?
I'm just, sometimes you need to have a direct conversation. So if you were talking to those ladies and they said, well, I don't know, I got to think about it, and you got to prove to me, I would say, ma'am, I don't need your business. I got 30 women I'm already working with. Whether I get your 10 grand or 20 grand is not going to make much difference to me. But whether you work with me is going to be the difference between you staying alone and lonely and you being with the man of your dreams. You got to put it like it's putting people in their place a little bit when they get a little, prove it to me. Prove to me that I should listen to you. I mean, no, you shouldn't listen to me. Do whatever you want. Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
But if you're serious, then put away your ego, humble yourself, and let's go. But if you're not, or if you want to stay and hurt someone, then do that.
That's true. That's true. I definitely I found myself not say frustrated with people, because at the end of the day, I know I can't make anyone do anything, right? And I think I've come to terms with that. I'm seeing like differences between me and certain friends or even family, whatever the case is. It's like you see the differences and you're like, okay, well, at the end of the day, you're your own person. You have to make your own decision, whatever. I'm here to help, if I can, but at the same time, too, I can't make you do anything. Like I know that old phrase about the horse and the water and whatnot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink.
right. So it sounds a little bit like that as well, where it's like, it's just putting that, I guess, that reality check, and again, if they want to do it and whatnot, they would do it. And if they don't, they won't. And
They won't.
yeah.
I'm looking for people who are hurting that I can serve out of their pain. But I'm also looking for people who are ready to take action. Looking for action takers, decisive people. I'm not looking for people that are just, well, let's talk some more. I need to see more. I don't need to meet any more Seymours.
No more Seymours.
No more.
I understand that, man. Oh goodness. Like, I don't know if we meeting at the right time or something like that. I just had like a little issue yesterday business wise, and I'm just like, you don't even want to hear them little numbers though. It ain't no way near what you're talking about.
We can certainly talk offline.
Yeah, man. It's like, those little numbers you probably be so upset to hear. Like, again, you're talking about numbers. It's like, again, I think it's probably not saying it's over our heads, but people only see those numbers on TV or hear those numbers on, podcasts or something. It's not a.
They're real. They're real. If you want them to be real, they're real. It's just, are you going to choose to participate? There's a book written by a fellow who's passed on now. I'll show it to you. It's on my desk. It's called The Trick to Money is Having Some. The author's name is Stuart Wilde. And he talks about how you get rich. And it's getting rich isn't about money and ego and all that. Getting rich is about living life as God intended for you to live abundantly. And he talks about you have to include yourself in, you have to choose to be in. If you're not in, then, it's not going to work for you, right? If you go, it's not possible, it can't happen, then yeah, God's going to say, okay, I agree with you. And if you say that, then it can't happen for me, it is possible, God's going to say, okay, I agree with you. Whatever you say, God's going to agree with you. So choose wisely.
That's real. Now that's right there. Definitely, I can say that because I can say life is definitely part of the tongue, right? So yeah, it's very important what you say, and then what you do as well with all of that. Ooh, so much to think about here with all what you've already shared today. So say someone's ready, right? Now I know earlier you mentioned like 3 niches. Do you kind of only work with those niches, or you could take anybody's business and help them?
Look, theoretically we could, okay, but I don't want to work with any and all businesses. And the reason is because I know what we're good at. Like I work with coaches, consultants, speakers, podcasters, authors, etc. That whole expert space. That's a niche. Another niche I work with is business owners that are between 1 and 20 million. And that's a whole separate niche. They have different problems. They're not worried about the money as much right now. They're worried about scaling, taking the money to another level, but they're not like stressed out about cash so much. And what we want to do for those folks is we want to take them to $100 million business. Now, I've got a fellow I work with that. He has built 4 companies to $150 to $550 million. And so we want to work with guys who want that. So that's the thing we do with those folks. And I also run a men's organization, and that organization is about helping men, live a strong, honorable, masculine men in this age. The world is very anti-man these days, anti-masculinity. It's messed up. And a lot of men, even strong men, are getting those messages coming at them from everywhere, and it's weakening them, it's softening them. So we want to strengthen them. Iron sharpens iron. And we believe that men need fathering. And you don't just need fathering when you're a boy, you need fathering when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Because that father energy is what keeps you strong and keeps you sharp. Otherwise, you're going to get soft and you're going to be some gooey sack of potatoes. And you don't want that.
And that is definitely needed. I'm thank you for reminding us about that part of your endeavors as well, because yeah, that mentorship, that guidance, I believe, women, we need that as well. Men, we need it. Like, not to say that we don't have mentors or people, but I feel like as a collective, especially I would say with as Christians and whatnot, you just kind of see, I don't know if it's a decline, or maybe like a disconnect between the younger generations and the older generations and whatnot. I mean, what would you say to that? Like, do you see that as well?
There's definitely a disconnect.
Yeah.
There's a number of reasons why it's in place. I mean, um, the feminist revolution that took place in the 60s and 70s, on the surface of it, had a lot of noble intentions. It wanted to have, equality before the law, and that aspect of it was fine. But it has had and been hijacked by people who really turned it into a man hatred thing, and has taken the sexes and brought them against each other. So men right now, a lot of them feel they can't speak up, but they feel very unfairly treated. They feel their intentions are good, and yet they're being called sexist, misogynist. And I'll be candid. I don't think there's a ton of sexist, misogynist men out there. Frankly, in today's world, there's more sexist, misandrous women who don't like men. And they're being encouraged in that, and that's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing. A lot of young women are being told that men are bad and you deserve this and you deserve that. And then they're getting into business and they're working during their childbearing years, right? Which I'm all for women working. My lady works. She works with me. She's amazing. I need her help inside of what we do. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without us working together at the same level. But having said all that, God created your body to have kids in a certain age. Why would you wait until that time has passed to start having kids? Does that even make sense? Like, if you're 40 years old and your body no longer really produces kids and you got to put artificial stuff in it, that's bad for you, bad for your child. You're far better off to have kids early, start raising them, and then get into your work. You know what I mean? Rather than saying, I'm going to put all this off. To me, it's up to you. It's a free world. It's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But there's a lot of unhappy women out there. And there's a lot of women out there who put off having a kid to go out there and work and conquer the world. And they have. Now they're in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s with no good man around them. And they're having a difficult time attracting a good man. Now, I'm just going to be straight with you. There's a reason why that is. They're successful women, so they're going to want a man equivalent to them. But a man equivalent to them who's, say, I don't know, 40 to 55, even 60, successful, rich, that man is the most sought after man in the world. So women are what a friend of mine calls sex objects. Men are success objects. So when a woman's young and, pretty, and in the flower of her feminine beauty, every guy wants her. Every guy's chasing her. Most guys won't get her. So a lot of those guys who are in the same age group as she is, like, teens, 20s until late 20s, those guys haven't got a hope in hell with this girl, right? They just don't. And there's a few guys who do, these kind of success objecty type guys, right? But then time goes on, she gets older, and her allure as the sex object is not as high. Like it or not, that's the truth. That's what happens, right? But his allure as a success object gets higher. Why? Because he's worked, he's created a career for himself, he's making money, and there's not a lot of guys like him anymore because men have been so wussified. I was going to use that other word that rhymes with it, but this being a God show, I won't do that, right? He's been wussified, and because so many guys are wussified, these successful women, they don't have their pick of these men. And you think about that, that's horrible for them because they're a good woman, they're a strong woman, but they wasted a lot of time that they could have been, with a good man, and chose, hey, I don't want it. That's not important to me. And now that it is important to you, it's a lot harder. Not impossible, which is why I say I think this is potentially a niche for you or other people.
Look, he does it twice now.
Right, but look, if I'm just going to give you this. Let's say you worked with women in Atlanta who were partners in law firms or accounting firms and it made at least $250,000 a year and they were single. These women could be in shape, like they take care of themselves and they're over the age of 40, right? And they're single. They have not got a guy. And they may be going on dates and, excuse me for saying this, men may be sleeping with them, but they're not staying with them. You know what I'm saying? And they want a guy that's going to stay with them. They're tired of having their hearts broken and, you know, all that. I'm telling you, that's a business. That's a business. And that's a business that'll make money for you. You won't make 200 grand a year. You're smart about that. You'll make 2.5 million a year running that business. You help these ladies attract men. It's done. And, you know, I can tell you the little secret to attract men if you want. It's not that hard. So there you go. So, a man wants to be known and accepted. Love to a man is being known and being accepted. And most women don't accept men. Most women in that space don't accept it. They have bought the feminist lie. You know, not the original feminists, because they were the good feminists, but the current feminist lie that men are bad, patriarchy, all that garbage, and that they shouldn't have to whatever with a man. And I'm just telling you, if you go in with an attitude of not liking men, you ain't going to attract a good man because he ain't going to want anything to do with you. Because a man who's over 40 and successful is not an insecure little boy, and he is not going to put up with being disrespected. He's not going to be an ass to you. He's not going to be a jerk. He's just going to leave. You know, and I hate to say it, but that's the problem a lot of women have. Maybe I should run a course like this for successful women, but maybe I should do it with a woman. Maybe I should do it with you, because the deal is that I would say I'm only going to work with this type of woman, and she's got to take my coaching. If she argues with me, if she says, no, this is garbage, then forget it. We're done. We're done. But the coaching is going to be very straightforward. Start liking men. Start treating a man like you actually want him around and you value him. That's the basis of the coaching. There's a lot of other tips and tricks and strategies, but that's the basis of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the things you say, I know people might look at this and they might be like, oh, she's just nodding, or oh, she's just saying, yeah. But I mean, I have observed a lot of the things that you're saying in regards to,
it's
it's
the truth. It's what's going on in our world.
Yeah, it's happening. And, you know, like you said, when you started with the weakening of men and all that stuff, and, you know, I'm a mom now. So, and I see the dynamics that, you know, my son having both him and my dad, him and his father in his life, you know, what that does. I mean, not to say that because, okay, long story short, backstory with me is that, you know, my father passed before I was born, but I did have a father figure when my mother got remarried, right? So, cool. But, you know, so I did have that, but I know a lot of people maybe did not grow up with both parents or whatever the case is. And so, being able to see, you know, see our son interact with both of us, you know, there's things that his father could just say, right, and interactions that he can have with our son that, and then I had totally different interactions with him. That's how important having both is. And so, so I'm okay with, you know, again, allowing my husband to leave, but kind of, you know what I mean? It's like, I allow him to leave. He's the man of the house. You know, I don't have any issue with that. You know, I don't have any issue with being.
But you lead in your own way.
Right, because I lead
in your own way. There's people think like one's going to lead and the other one's going to follow. That's not true.
Yeah.
There's areas you're good and he's bad, and there's areas he's good and you're bad. And that's what you got to do. Like, you know, I'm not with the mother of my kids anymore, but there's tons of stuff I follow her lead on. Tons. I even ask her, what should we do here? You know what I mean? Like, because I don't know. And she does. And then there's stuff where, you know, my son's disrespecting her. She's not dealing with it real well. And I take care of it. Right? Yeah. Like teenage boys, you know, like with their moms.
Yeah.
No, don't talk to your mom like that or I'll whoop you. Right? That's what he's got to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, I got a 3-year-old. He already tries me, and it's like, what is happening? Like you're just 3, and you think you're the parent in this situation, but then, you know, his dad will back me up and whatnot, and then it breaks the pot. And so I already see it now. We're just starting. You know what I'm saying? We're just starting, and so and it's funny that you keep saying this thing. I don't know. We about to talk business. What's going on? Because I do have a book about well, it's about my single experience. And that's pretty much what it was about. Because I had a tough time as a single woman. I was like always wanting this part of my life. I was like, where's my husband? I was that girl, looking all around and all that stuff. So I wrote a book about like my experience with that and whatnot. And I would say that like other women my age, I give advice or whatever. But I noticed that there's some of them, either they don't want what I did during that time of my life was like I really owned up to like things I needed to do and things I needed to change and things I wanted to improve or whatever the case was to get me to where I am now. I feel like those changes and those things is what kind of got me to the place where I'm at now, and so but I see some people aren't, either they're not willing to do that or they don't think anything is wrong with their actions or whatever the case
And
is.
those aren't clients. You're looking for people that with your help can see there's a problem and they want to do something about it. If they don't, bye-bye. Yeah. You are not there to work with anybody who is not interested in working.
Hey, that's true on so many levels.
I mean,
hey, well,
it's like, imagine this. Would you try to force, let's say you're single, would you try to force somebody to kiss you? No, you wouldn't do that. It's gross for both of you, right? Why would you force somebody to do business with you? That'd be gross for both of you too. I mean, if they don't want to do business with you, let them go. There's someone else there who's going to want to.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. No, okay. Like I'm on here just getting all the if we're going to start this new business now, but no, you were talking about it, and I'm like, well, I am intrigued. I'm not gonna lie, as some entrepreneur spirit, I already told you that, so I am intrigued by the things you're saying. But do you think, because I'm young, I'm 35, so this older woman you're talking about, that might not be would that be my clientele as somebody that's younger than them? Would you think they would listen?
I don't know. This is not any. So this is why we run.
I know it's a, yeah, I know it's a.
This is why we run the programs we do, is because this is not a fast and easy answer.
Yeah.
It's a hypothetical I just came up with to illustrate. But I can tell you this: if you went through the process of doing one of our, branded thought leader workshops, which would be involve, coming either to Toronto or doing it over Zoom with us, because right now we're going to do both for people, and being able to sit down and do the work both before the course and during the course, we'd come up with that answer. 100% we would. We could probably come up with the answer before you even start the course, because we'll get you started on doing some of the pre-work. Once you have the answer, here's how you find out if it's the right one. Go talk to people. Got to go talk to people. You got to know who you know. If you're becoming a branded thought leader, it's easier to attract people. So one of my clients, I was having a conversation with him, and he did a white paper of a certain kind of business owner. And he wanted to, find out what are some of the issues dealing with them. We came up with a bunch of questions for him to ask. And he only knew 5 people like that in his network. And he wanted to interview 30 people like that. So he reached out to his network and he said, do you know anybody who is this, this, and this? And it was incredible. But the people in his community introduced him to 26 other people. So he ended up interviewing 31 of them. And he's going to be doing business with some of these people. And he didn't call him to do business. He called him to interview him and get information to write a white paper. But he just got a huge opportunity by the biggest guy in his city in a particular industry, who called him and said, you're the first person I chose to call because I want to start a new business, a disruptive business. And I want you to be, and this guy in that industry was, the big poobah, like he's the man. And so that he called my guy is because he went through this process. So what I would have someone like yourself do, and let's just say you were going after these ladies, I would have you say, I want to have a conversation with 30 women who are over the age of 40 and, lawyers and accountants or whatever, right? We decide what they are. And maybe I know like 6 of them and I need 24 more. So you're going to go to all your friends and you're going to ask for introductions, and they're going to make those introductions, and you're going to have the conversations, and that's how you're going to do it. And if you do it that way, you're going to get some of these people that are going to go, wow, you're a pretty thoughtful lady. Tell me more about what you do for people. And that's how you do business. Or you could have those 30 conversations, and then it could become clear to you this ain't really a market. This isn't a thing. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure it will be a thing, but this is the beauty of having conversations with you. Life is a people business,
Yeah.
And business is a people game, right? We're all about people. If you are in conversations with people rather than trying to social media your way to success, you're going to do great. You're going to do great.
Yeah, I mean, I know all this is a hypothetical thing. I mean, look, be able to look up for my new business endeavors. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see. No, but I know it's a hypothetical question. I guess I asked because it's like, maybe as somebody younger than me, right? They might look at a situation like, oh, well, maybe again, that might not be attainable for somebody like me. Like, who's going to listen? But then I don't know. There's a lot of young entrepreneurs doing big things and making big money. You know what I mean? So, maybe get in young, man, and
Listen, I'll just ask you this right now. Like, if everything was possible, how much money would you want to make a year? Like, no kidding.
I don't even know. And that's the crazy thing. Like,
but if you did know, what would it be? If God spoke to you right now, what's the number?
A random number that just came in my head. I don't know. Like, what, 100,000? I don't even know. Like, I don't know.
Okay, that's a start. All right? That's a start. I think you may want to add a zero to it, but we'll start. Really? We'll start with 100,000. Yeah, for sure. So you want to do this. Here's my advice to you. Make a decision that you're going to make $100,000 this year. Like a decision, a commitment in your mind that you are a child of God and this is what you're all about. And then start to think about, well, how do I do that? What can I offer people? And you'd want to offer something that's, not low ticket, but big ticket. Your main thing should be making you $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 every time you sell it. You do that, you're good. You don't do that, you're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Well, look, you've given me a lot to think about today, and I think anybody listening and watching this, will have things to think about as well. So obviously we need to figure out how to contact you. So would you like to share that information with us on today?
Okay, well, listen, the best way to contact me, honestly, is if you have a business and you want to do something about it, just go to my website, ecircleacademy.com. There's a button in the top right-hand corner. It says book a success call. That's a complimentary call. You go in there, you put in your name, your information, you talk a little bit about your business, and then you book a time on my calendar. And we sit down and we have a talk. Or you can just go ecircleacademy.com/appointment if you don't want to go to the website, ecircleacademy.com/appointment. That call is what we call a breakthrough success call. We're going to have an honest conversation about where you're really at in your business, where you want to get to for real, what's been getting in your way, what's not working, and what we need to do to fix that. And I'll do that free of charge, and that is going to show you what you need to do. So if you're in business, you're serious about change, that's what you should do.
All right. Is there anything else you would like to share with us on today?
God bless you. Thanks for having me on the show. I really enjoyed the conversation. You're a great interviewer. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, yes, I enjoyed talking to you too. Thank you so much as well. You're welcome back anytime. Let's go.
Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the motion, loving this devotion. Live it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I count a roll. I'm about the hard to figure out that I'm not the type of girl that goes around.
Thank you all so much for watching God, Sex, and Love, and thank you to Mr. Nicky Billou for joining us tonight. I hope that you all enjoyed the conversation. You definitely left me with some things to think about, maybe some new ventures, some new endeavors. We'll see what the Lord do. But in the meantime, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good night.
Go